All right, guys. And write to us,
Yes.
highpriestesshypeclub@gmail.com.
Yes. Write to
Mhm.
us. We will respond.
We will. We will. Do you want to hit the pause button?
I'm just going to let it run for 4 hours.
Hey, everybody. This is Mary.
And this is Julie.
And you are listening to the High Priestess Hype Club. And it's funny, this kind of leads me into this thought I was having. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and she was talking about something she was trying to make a decision on. Finally, she's like, well, my gut says this, which was opposite of what she was saying she was going to do. I'm like, so why aren't you listening to your gut? She's like, well, what if my gut's wrong? I'm like, but what if it's right? Like, your gut usually is not wrong.
Is this friend me? No. Because it sounds exactly like me. But
I'm the same.
But no, yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah. I'm like, why aren't you listening to your gut? And then, things moved on, and it was her gut was right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I have some folks that say to me, like, I don't know. My gut says this, but then it's like, yeah, you can't see it, but your body can feel it. So listen to that. Your body's reacting to things.
Right. Yes.
And that's why, like, when you were saying you were watching body language and stuff, people can look at you and say, no, I didn't do that, but their body language can show something different. So it's good to know that stuff. Yeah. So
and my poor kids now, I'm just like, you lying to me about that?
So not only am I psychic, but I study this stuff.
Did I say this? You're never going to get away with shit. No,
not
true.
No. You might let them get away with some stuff.
I know,
let's say it that way.
I know. No, but it is interesting, and it's useful in a lot of different situations. So
I'll never forget one time. Thank God I'm really glad my body reacted, and I was like, all right, I got to listen to that. So Boston, 9:00 in the morning. It's a busy time, but Faneuil Hall for whatever time. So if you ever come to Boston, there's Faneuil Hall, it has a whole bunch of shops and history and stuff.
Okay.
And so I was walking across the street from that. There was an ATM. It's interesting because you don't usually see ATMs just like stuck in buildings anymore, and you just walk up to it and take money out. But that's what I was doing. And all of a sudden I'm walking in that direction. I didn't quite hit the ATM, but my body like made this and I looked up, and this guy, so I was coming in kind of diagonal to the ATM. He was coming in from the other side diagonally. So he was going to meet me at the ATM, and I went, nope. Turned around, put my card back in my pocket, turned around and walked away. And then I kept walking, and I happened to look, and he had walked back to where he was
for the next person.
Yeah. Yeah. So
good for you.
But I felt it. It was like my body went, nope, danger, danger, danger. And then when I saw him, I was like, yep, okay, bye.
Yep.
No, and I think, for money.
Yeah, dude. One, yikes. Also, two, I think that sometimes we get to where we start ignoring that part of ourselves, and I think that luckily when it's like primal dangery kind of situation, because it's more intense within us, we feel it, but it's also kind of like intuition can be overlooked so easily in like so many different kinds of situations.
Yeah.
And I think some people I am more prone to not believing it than believing it. I think that's kind of slowed down some of my more like hype club-esque high priestessy stuff, right? And I'm trying to be like more open to it and just listen to it more. And now we're here. So hopefully that's a good
I think it's a great sign. Yeah. Well, it's just, sometimes you got to leap off the cliff.
Yeah.
The Fool card. I guess that was saying to us, hey, do you want to jump off the cliff? And we're like, yeah, we'll jump off the cliff.
We'll jump off the cliff. It's fun.
It's fun.
Is it?
Yeah. It should be good right now. So
it seems to be good. And that was like 4 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And we just published that episode.
Yeah. So
and people have listened to it that aren't just us.
Right.
So, and I'm not just making that up. They've told me.
No, they've told me. Right. Are you pulling cards? What are you doing?
I got them out.
I know. I saw.
I know. It's going to be like full reverse, bitch.
No. Don't do that.
I keep getting them out whenever we're on calls. I'm just like, I want to shuffle them.
See? It's like your intuition's like, pull them out.
I know. So while I'm doing this and like talking myself out of it, what would you suggest to people who are trying to like improve their intuition? Like you're like really connected to like spirit side and everything, and like listening to that. And I know there's all the different clairs, and like sometimes you get messages differently, but what would you tell somebody, possibly me, who's trying to listen more to that?
Yeah. I think you can use it on simple stuff. Like, so I use it, if someone's calling me, I don't look at the caller ID. I just try to kind of tune in to see who it is.
Ooh.
You can do that. I used to do that with like commercials too. Sometimes I'd be like, all right, this commercial is going to come on next. Or I used to, and I know that sounds like,
No, that's fun. That's cool.
you can do some fun stuff with it, but also I just think when you feel something, just follow it. Like, but the difference is here, I'll tell you, this may be very helpful, hopefully, fingers crossed. Your intuition is not like, hey, dummy, you should have done it this way. You should do it this way. That's not, your intuition doesn't talk to you like that. Your brain talks to you like that, your mind. It's when your intuition's like, why don't you try this? And then you go, well, why should I try that? Because you really might like it. Right. And you go, where like, if your mind's in it, you're like, wait, what are you saying? No.
Right.
Where your mind's like, hey, idiot, you screwed that up. And
Like,
why did you
that's
do
you.
it that way?
Right.
That's you. So that's the difference, and I think sometimes people will say to me, like, my gut's telling me, and I'm like, well, what is it saying? I know if they start to get real derogatory with it, I'm like, that's you. That's not your intuition.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like your intuition's not, it just doesn't talk like that.
I think that's
Intuition.
interesting.
Yeah. It just wants to help you. Like,
Yeah.
it wants to encourage you. It wants to, like,
Yeah.
let's do this kind of thing. And I mean, I used to do stuff like, if I was driving down the street and I felt like I shouldn't go that particular route, I'd go a different route. Like, and I just
Yeah, I
follow
do
it,
that.
and that's an intuition.
Yeah.
So the more you do that, the more like your body's like, oh, we're doing this now. Your mind's like, we're doing this now. Great. We're going to do it more with you.
Yeah.
So everybody, I think, expects it to be very dramatic, and it can be.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just like,
look, am I in a room and wind starts blowing and candles start blowing out? Probably my intuition. No.
did Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman show up?
I know. Then,
right.
I mean, then I'm listening.
Right. We trying to get rid of Jimmy Angelo.
I know.
Oh my God. No. But, they should have listened to their intuition. That was a bad move.
Oh my God.
They should have listened to the aunts. Yes, aunts. No. But yeah, that's the thing is just start like trying to intuit stuff.
Yeah.
Just try. Ask yourself, like, what's happening here? So because when you don't listen to it, you get yourself in trouble. I don't care what anybody says. Your intuition, not talking about
you
your
talking
mind going,
yourself. Yeah.
Hey, and maybe some of you are really like wonderful. You're like, you are so amazing all the time. Like maybe they're like that all the time. Usually I'm like, bonehead, could you not do that today?
Right. I'm like, look, if you have your self-talk down, good for you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I'm very impressed. But my self-talk does go into places sometimes. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to talk to myself like that. Like, so at least I recognize sometimes it's bad, but yeah, that's the thing. Your intuition is like, I want to help you be happy. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of see her as the good witch. From Wizard of Oz. She comes in, she's like, here you go. And then the supposedly bad witch, which we know she wasn't, but like that, that's more of you. So imagine you're green.
You're green. And you have amazing singing voice, like Idina Menzel.
That's true.
And
that was actually pretty good, Wicked.
But you want that Chenoweth outfit.
Yes. It's my intuition. I can do whatever I want with it. Thank you.
I know this got out of hand, but
yeah.
All right, we're gonna pull this card.
All right, do it.
We're gonna see what happens. Full reverse. No,
I'm gonna be like, you know what? Full reversed. You know.
See, in my hand, I don't know why when it comes to doing this on here, like my hand starts to like shake and get nervous.
You're fine.
I don't know why it does that. Well, because I guess probably because I just do it for myself. And then I'm like, maybe I should keep. And it's like, no, you should go ahead and turn the damn card over. Maybe that's me. It's like, you should go ahead and turn the card over.
Yeah.
All right. Justice. That's an intense card. High Priest reversed. Look, this is all major. Justice upright, High Priest reversed, Shadow Side, which is like I think the devil card in this deck. And then the Ace of Wands reversed. I don't know. Seems intense. To get over yourself, everything's quit dealing cards. You're not getting better.
I think it's just like, y'all, you're doing fine. It's
It
fine.
really just wanted the first three,
It
but
just,
it really
yeah.
wanted me to just steal the first three. And the
Mhm.
back is the Empress. So
Oh,
back of deck
okay.
is Empress. So I think
It's fine.
it's actually fine. It's
Yeah.
look, this this devil card though to me, because it's shadow side, because this
Mhm.
deck is it's what the witches tarot or whatever. I
Oh,
know there's
yeah.
like 8 witches tarots,
Yeah.
but this one says that basically it's it's just like self-doubt or addictions or stuff like that. And
Self-doubt.
is that what we've been talking about a lot today?
Gee, thank you,
Maybe.
cards. Thank you.
Thank you. But I got wow, that's 4. I guess this is a new thing we're doing. That's for Major Arcana. Everybody's going to be like, she never actually read or said anything about what these cards meant. No, I didn't, because I'm nervous.
You're fine. So you have you have Justice upright?
So I've got Justice upright,
Mm-hmm.
High Priest reversed,
Mm-hmm.
Devil card upright,
Mm.
and then Empress was the back of the deck.
Yeah. Okay. So basically we just don't let anybody get in our way and put the plant self-doubt. Plant any
Ooh,
self-doubt.
there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is why you give interpretations and I don't. But yeah, I mean, when I look at it, it does kind of sound like what we've been talking about for the past however long we've been talking in some ways.
Well, that's another point. I'll just jump on this real quick, but I think it's sometimes it's like how we think other people are gonna perceive what we're doing. Like
I'm 1,000% terrified of that. This is like Ep4 and I'm still scared every day. Hey guys, we love you. Still scared every day.
Well, I think it's also like, so what do you do? Like, for a long time, people used to ask me what I did, and I was like, oh, I'm a holistic practitioner. Like I'd come up with some other and finally I was just like, I do a lot of holistic things, but my main thing is psychic medium.
Yeah.
And I put it out there. And if someone doesn't like it, that's fine. They don't, they don't have to talk to me about it, but it's interesting. Sometimes people are fascinated with it. Like, oh, do you do readings, blah, 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 professionally? I'm like, yeah. But finally I just came to a point where I was like, I can't keep not making up, but saying things like, well, I do
minimizing
work. Yeah.
Or distancing or whatever from what it actually is.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, as you know, pretty much what I've been doing for a very long time. But because you get, everybody does to certain levels. And when you want to do something that's stepping outside of what you think people would accept you for doing, or you're scared you won't, I'm scared I won't succeed at, or whether it's a podcast or any other thing that I've wanted to do for ever, and it keep putting off because I'm nervous about it. I mean, it that feels a lot like what's happening here.
Yeah.
That it's just kind of like, you'll be fine if you do it.
Right.
You should go ahead and try it.
Yeah.
And it's stuff I would tell my kids too, don't be scared to try this thing in school. Every time you make a mistake, you're learning. Do I tell myself that? No. Was I told that? Maybe, but I didn't hear it.
No,
I can't remember that, but that doesn't mean that's not what I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, we got to talk to ourselves like we talk kindly to other people.
Yeah. To people we love and stuff, that we want to encourage them. Like if they say, I want to try this, but I'm nervous. It's like, you can do that. You're amazing. Oh my God. You hype them up and then you send them on your way. And then meanwhile, you're like,
I'm like, everything sucks.
You're terrible.
I'm not good at this.
Right. I'm not good at this. I'm going to drop it, even though I want to do it. Yeah, no, we can, our heads can spin us around and around. So
look, I almost did that just when we were trying to release the first one the other day, guys. I know we're on episode 4 at this point, but I was like, should we delay this for a week? And they were like, why? And I was like, well, I mean, we don't have everything set up and perfect and ready. And they were like, Julie, Mary's like, Julie, please just go ahead and schedule it, in a very kind way. But I understand that you're stressed out. But it'll be okay.
It'll be fine. Yeah. Doesn't have to be perfect. We'll catch it up. And that's what that's what we've done. So there's always changes that are happening. So but it's out. I think that's the big thing. Like I said, we can always find a way out, right? You're like, maybe we can hold it off till next week.
And how many weeks am I going to say that? Part of what I think is good though about the Hype Club and what we want to do with because we're thinking of setting up a group where we can all talk to each other and all this kind of stuff, guys, that where it's a little bit accountability, but not like in a hardcore accountability group.
Right.
It's a hype club. Like we're
It's a
hyping
hype
each
club.
other up,
Mhm.
right? Like it's okay. You're nervous about this. Go do it.
Mhm.
You've
Yeah,
got
tell us
this.
how it went. We
But
can help.
also Mary's a Sagittarius, so if it's a bad idea, she'll tell you
I will.
in a
I
good
will.
trust, in a way you can trust.
Do you really think that's a good idea? Can we talk about this?
Can we talk about this a little bit? And you
Yeah.
need that friend too.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think it's a good idea right now to sell all your possessions and then go cross country to a guy you haven't met yet?
Ooh,
It's not.
it's a bad
It's
one.
bad. Do you know anything about him? No. Yeah, no, don't do this.
Ooh.
Do this. Yeah. So stuff like that. I will tell you, bad idea. There is absolutely no reason to do this. So stop. And it's funny because some of the readings I do, I have people that say things to me that I'm like, now, I just want to ask you, how are
Mhm.
you feeling about that
Right.
decision you're trying to make? Like, what? Well, I don't think it's a good decision. Okay. Can we talk
Okay.
about why we're making the decision to go that
Right.
route then?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's, you listen, I had someone say this to me and I agree with this. Like sometimes we know it's a bad choice. We
Yeah.
just do it anyway.
Well, yeah, been
No.
there.
Right? Like
Right.
the girl who like sells everything and moves cross country to be with her guy that she hasn't met. Like it's
Sounds familiar to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I get it. I get it. So my first husband, he was hated at my college. And I was like, you guys just don't know him. He's amazing. Well, he was my first husband, if that gives you any indication. I've had more than one, and he was the first. So yeah, that one didn't work out. But yeah, no, I was like, you just don't know him. Like I know him differently than you. And granted, I did, but
yeah,
still
and you
had
did
all those things too.
Right.
Right. That's the thing. Like I was like,
right.
You don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, well, yeah.
Did I see you get your cards out too?
I did. I just didn't know. Okay.
Look, I'm like, you do it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It'll be like, Julie's being ridiculous. Tell her to stop.
No. Well, I have to tell you, I find this interesting because we have the 3 of Cups upright, celebration.
Ooh.
We have the Sun card reversed.
Okay.
We have the Queen of Cups reversed. And we have Ace of Wands upright. So basically, this is saying like everything's going to go well. Stop looking for all the crappy stuff out there.
We will.
Yeah. And
we will. We're trying.
Yeah. Just keep doing it. That's the Ace of Wands at the end. Just keep doing it.
It's all very on theme.
Yeah. And then I have the King of Cups on the bottom. So,
oh, yeah.
People will come around. And if they don't, they don't. But
I almost made a joke like, what's that hoe doing? But like, but maybe that's more the Knight of Cups.
There's some King of Cups that are a little,
mm-hmm.
Being hoey. Come on, let's be honest. But I think there's some hoey King of Cups out there. Hoey Queen of Cups out there too. Don't get me wrong, guys.
Look, and being hoey's fine.
You're happy, go for it.
That's right.
But right? I mean, who's going to judge that? I don't care. But that's the other thing. We're talking about a lot of things. Why do we have to care about what other people are doing? Like in the sense of,
look,
I don't know.
Not like social contract kind of way, right? Not like being good in the world and caring for one another is important. Like, of course, you need to care about that. But also, why does look, I totally hijacked this from you. I'm sorry. But it's like, why does our concern about somebody you may or may not know, like their possible, we don't even know, like possibly perceived judgment about what we're doing, like stop us from doing stuff?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's because I don't like being embarrassed and I don't like, but at the same time, it's like, you're just slowing yourself down. Like that's the fear, right? Like embarrassment, like gossip, like,
yeah.
This is also feeds into, this has become Julie's therapy hour. This also feeds into the point though, like there is one point where I worked with someone years and years and years ago who I'm sure is a fine person, but I did not like them. We did not get along in a work style kind of way, right? Yeah. I don't know that they were a bad human being, but we did not mesh
in work.
Luckily, we didn't have to work too much together. Right. We're not on the same team or anything. Tracy at the time was like, you're very concerned about whether or not they like you and you don't like them. Maybe you should think about that. Does it matter if they like you or not?
Yeah.
And at the time it was like, yes, it does matter. But that doesn't mean that was the healthy choice.
Right. But we work off of what we know until we find another way,
Right.
like, so maybe you were like, no, it's important to me right now. And then you worked with them and went, yeah, no, actually that's not important. But we can't know until we go
Right.
through it.
Right.
I also just find it interesting people who are, I think constructive feedback is good, even like
Yes.
constructive criticism.
Yes.
But when you're just being just to be one,
yes.
I mean, like, why? Like, what's missing in your life that you feel like you need to do that?
Right.
No,
it's a good point.
Yeah. What is, because you're getting involved somewhere else that really, like I was having a conversation with my mother the other day. I'll give you an example. I was having a conversation with her. And my niece, of course, is 17, so she's doing teenager stuff, dating.
Yeah.
So my mother had an opinion, and she said it's my brother, and I said, okay, well, you've let him know what you think. Let it go. And every day, like for the 3 or 4 days, she was like, I'm gonna tell your brother blah 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 what Emily should do with her relationship and this and that.
Yeah.
And I said, shut your mouth. I did. I kind of said it. It wasn't exactly
I love you.
Hi Sagittarius here. Sorry.
Hi.
I apologize. But I did. I was like, could you just shut your mouth? I'm like, she's 17. She's gonna go through these things in relationships. Like, she's not marrying the kid. If she does, great. But I mean, she's 17, so there's no plans for that right now.
Right.
Could you just let it, like, I appreciate that you want to give him your opinion. You already have given him your opinion, and you kind of got no horse in this race. So I would stop.
Yeah. Like, continuing to do so isn't going to help anything. It's not going to slide things closer to the way that you want them to be.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And I get it. People want to convince other people like this is the way it should be. And that's fine. But we all got our own way of handling things. So, and sometimes we have to learn that,
No, I think that's really true.
Yeah. So yeah. Teenage love, man. Oh, I don't miss those days.
I'm not prepared.
Oh, Julie.
And I do not miss them, and I am not prepared. So we're just gonna compartmentalize that for a little while. We've had a couple years before we start really having to worry about it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. But when Emily started dating, it was like, oh my god, no, she can't be old enough to date. And she was old enough to date. And I was like, oh my God. And of course, anybody who was mean to her, I wanted to murder.
Oh yeah, like completely destroy them.
Murder. Yeah.
Yes.
I think I said it to her once, like, listen, if they hurt your feelings, they're going to be begging for me to kill them because they're going to be suffering 1,000 times over. And I don't even have to be in the same room. So just let them know.
Just let them know my aunt's a witch and she'll fuck you up.
Okay, bye.
I love you.
I love you. And she's like, oh my God. That's, oh my God, Auntie. I'm like, well, just let them know if it's a joke. Maybe they'll think it's funny. Good.
And she's like, I'm not going to tell them.
Right. That's what she said. I'm not going to tell them that. I'm like,
okay, but you just know it.
I go, I go, and am I going to meet him anytime soon? Back then, no. Why not?
Why?
Why? Because I look like I'm going to murder him? What? No, but I just, it's that whole, like, they got to go through what we went through, and you want to kill people who are not good to your people you love. So yeah. So that's
is it transference? Is it just caring? Why not both?
Hey, at least we know it. It's fine.
I know, right?
At least we know it, and we can make adjustments if we want. But otherwise, I don't want to make an adjustment on this one. Like,
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
but also,
my niece, no.
Right. But you also knew when to be like, okay, I've told you this. Yeah. I'm not going to call your dad and tell him every day.
Right.
I'm not going to call my brother every day.
No.
And be like, you really should do blah. And then just be like, oh my God. I don't even know your brother. I'm like making up his voice in my head. Then he's just like, oh, Mary, stop. But like,
yeah. Well, that's it. And I don't want to. And what does that do? It doesn't.
Well, it doesn't foster positive relationships with anybody.
No.
Yeah.
No. So this doesn't mean, folks, like, because we go to the extreme examples. They're like, well, what about, like, should I not say anything to, my kids or this or that, or this bad situation's happening? No, I think it's if someone's in danger, it's I would go dragging someone kicking and screaming out of someplace if they were in real danger.
Right.
She's dating someone. So it's like, things are fine. She's not in it, but I think she's in for some hurt, and that's That's the thing we want to prevent.
Right. And it's the difference between like a life lesson and
Yeah.
like a dangerous
A
situation.
dangerous situation. Yeah.
Right. Like
Mhm.
there's a line there.
Mhm.
Right.
Life situations, I think sometimes it's hard to watch someone make
Go through it.
choices. Yeah, but sometimes that's the only way. You know where I learned that? I'll tell you, and I don't mind saying it on here. I learned that through Al-Anon because I was
Nice,
going to
yeah.
Al-Anon for a while, and Al-Anon really takes and I know it doesn't work for everybody. So
Yeah, but it's a good program for lots of people.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, what it did for me was to realize, like, you're in there trying to control some things, and
they're not yours to control.
Nope. No, and that's hard. It's hard, but you have to focus on yourself and how you're going to react to things and do things. So that I've taken that into other parts of my life, because you can get consumed with someone going through something. And I can say that I was seeing someone that was an alcoholic for a hot minute, and did I try to control that? And I was, but I knew I needed help to understand that. So that's why I landed at Al-Anon, and it's, and then the pandemic hit and we were doing Al-Anon online for a while, but it works. However you can get there, who cares? You just
Dude, seriously. And well, and I mean, it's helpful, right? I think that, and like you said, you can carry those lessons from like your immediate situation, like through other aspects of your life, right? Like, yeah. So, and I've had to do some work around some things where there are people in my life who have different issues that like, but I don't understand. Why would you think this way through something? And then I'm like, but they don't think their way through things the same way. Right. And I know I have that tendency in me, or like that drive that I can feel, that's kind of like, but I want to tell them that like, you should just do this and this, and that would be better. Just like you were talking about, but because of life experience and like all this work I'm doing on myself, like to try to be like a good parent as well as like partner and whatever, that like I can't just push this on them. Right. And I need to respect and understand that sometimes people think in certain ways because chemicals, and I don't mean like that they're like just your brain, just how their body works or whatever, or like, oh, well, haven't worked on this, or they're working on this, or whatever it is. I'm not trying to like, I am far from perfect, friends. Like, but I think it's just that now that I understand why some people do certain things, at least even in a cursory, I've read up on some things way, it's easier for me to relate to them and not let what they do get stuck in my craw.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, just
I do,
because I'll just chew on something. And it's kind of like you said, like your mom is just like thinking about this and wanting to talk to him about it. It's not helping her either.
No.
So, and I know, that
but that's where she is. Like, that's the other thing. Yeah. Like I've said to her, like, don't do it, but she's also got to, if that's where she needs to be. Right. I think I like what you were talking about there. Like, that's where they operate from. I think sometimes too, like if there's a trauma,
yes,
they come right in from the trauma, and then like it's good for us to know that's where they're coming from. I'm not saying they can, beat the crap out of us verbally, and then we're like, oh, that's okay because you had like a bad childhood. It's more of like, all right, I know where that's coming from, and then you can make a decision on whether or not you keep working on that relationship, you say things, whatever. And maybe, like with my mom, maybe I should have just said it once and walked away. But I was like, leave him alone. Stop. We all know your opinion on this. Stop.
Right.
But it was something in her head she had to do. And
well, and it can inform how you or whoever is in that situation sets their own boundaries with that person. Right. And a boundary, I read this the other day and I was like, this is pretty solid advice, that a boundary isn't saying, I don't want you to do this. A boundary is saying, when you do this, I will do this. Right. Oh, and not like in a threat, but like, when you're angry, if you curse at me over the phone, I'm going to hang up.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk until you've calmed down. I thought that was an interesting distinction between, like, I know when I was younger, I thought that boundaries would be like, you're not allowed to do this to me.
Right. Same.
And instead of being like, when you do that, I'm going to do this to take care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. We don't have to talk about politics. We don't have to go there. And even if we do, I can just say, I think I see it differently, but that's okay. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, so I will make like a little, like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
read something
nobody's
different, but
mind is
okay. You know?
nobody's mind is going to get changed when you're just yelling at them
No.
as much as you might want to,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And yeah.
There was a great thing and speaking of pop culture, I always refer things back to pop
We love
culture.
pop culture.
I do. I do. So there's
I do too.
I'm like a 12-year-old boy. I love Kevin Smith. Love Kevin Smith.
I love Kevin Smith,
Kevin
Mary.
Smith. I love him. Oh my God.
I love. Okay. See, this
Okay.
is good. Okay, go.
Right. So if you saw the movie Dogma,
Yes.
which I mean I love, but Chris Rock's in it, and Chris Rock's the 13th apostle who was left out of the Bible, just
Right.
in case you haven't seen it, guys. And then Bethany, who is like supposed to a savior of the world, as the world's going to end because of these two rogue angels. Anyway, so Chris Rock says she starts talking about beliefs and things like that. And he goes, you know, I don't really believe in, like, I really don't think beliefs are good because you can't change someone's belief, but an idea that you can change someone's idea.
Yeah.
So you may have a belief something, but what about having an idea? And then, you know, kind of listening to that and seeing if there's another opinion that may fit that idea, you know? So that's what he said. We don't have beliefs, we have ideas.
Yeah.
Which I really kind of liked because, you know, once you can't, if someone's got that belief, it takes a lot.
It's tough.
It's tough. And you know where I really saw this, where I was like, okay, they got to believe.
Yeah.
Again, pop culture, and guys, don't judge me. Dr. Phil, did you ever see him do those scams, like the love scams?
Oh, yeah.
That he can show them so much evidence that this person,
I mean, like black and white evidence, like really solid. I know. It's that
they
can't see it.
No.
Yeah. Or and how does that intersect with like they can't or they don't want you, but like it's yeah. And those are always pretty sad. And sometimes they come around, but like I watch Dr. Phil too. So it happens.
Yeah.
But like
YouTube. I found him on YouTube. But it was like these women, they were like, some of them they were in the hole for $1 million.
Well, yeah. And I found it interesting on that too, that part of how the people look, this is that where he intersects with the behavior people, they like love him too. Like, but anyway, this is not a behavior panel fan cast, but behavior panel, we love you.
We love you.
Part of how they choose people is that like if they will overlook the bad grammar and spelling errors, they know they've got somebody who will believe in them and how, you know what I mean? If they'll overlook some things that are obviously off,
perfect. Come on.
They'll buy in deeper, right? Yeah. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
We all have like our blind spots kind of thing.
Sure.
You know, in ways that like you don't know him like I do.
Right.
You know, and I don't mean that just about you. I've said that too.
Sure. It's interesting because, you know, it's what we're willing to overlook to kind of, you know, be in something that we want. So that's something to think about. Well, do you think everybody's hyped up? Are y'all hyped up?
Are y'all hyped up? Did we get Maudlin at the end? Do I have to say that every time I think of Dogma and Chris Rock, I always just think of him being like, God hates it when you call it mythology. That's what I always think of. You think of the more profound things. I think about how like, I also did think about it as mythology as a kid, and maybe that's why Catholicism didn't stick. But
right. I have a good idea.
Who knows?
I believe I have a good idea.
I have a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, hopefully everybody's kind of hyped up.
Hype, yes.
And we'll see you next time. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at High Priestess Hype Club, and subscribe to us on whatever platform you're currently listening to us on now, because we're back every Thursday to hype you up. Email us at highpriestesshypeclub@gmail.com and tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.